Now, in other news tonight, significant quantities of human remains have been discovered at the site of a former mother and baby home in Tuam in County Galway. It comes after a commission of investigation began excavations at the site of a children's burial ground in October last year. It followed claims that 800 babies were buried at the site.
After months of investigations and a detailed excavation, confirmation today of what's been described as a shocking discovery. Behind this hoarding, the site where significant quantities of human remains have been found. They date from the time when the Secours sisters operated a home in Tuam. Many of the remains have been specifically linked to the 1950s. Some of the bones were found in a large, disused septic tank which had been filled with rubble and debris before it was covered with topsoil. More were located in a separate underground structure, longer than the first, and divided into 20 chambers.
This news is very disturbing and will touch everyone's heart. There were, of course, strong suspicions about burials of this kind in Tuam for some time, and it was one of the reasons for setting up the Commission of Investigation in the first place. The information I have received confirms these suspicions, and importantly, they trace the remains specifically to the period of the home's operation, rather than to earlier times in our history, such as during the famine.
Scientific analysis on some of the remains revealed the age of death at between 35 fetal weeks to between 2 and 3 years. Those findings mark the latest stage in a long campaign to honour those who lived and died in the Tuam home.
I was born there in 1951 and I spent 6.5 years in it. And my mother spent 12 months with me. But once the 12 months was up, then they had to leave because they didn't want the bonding between the baby and the mother as you get older. So she was asked to leave and she was put out, and that was it.
PJ Haverty eventually tracked down his mother in England. She died 4 years ago.
I feel it wasn't her fault. It was the church, the state and this country that let her down. And I want an apology now because she didn't do anything wrong. She did not do anything, and I want an apology from the state and the church. So as I can go back to her grave and read that over her grave, that she did nothing wrong whatsoever. You know, and she probably would have made a perfect mother as well.
And that search for justice is echoed by others who were born in the home in Tuam.
They can bury them in that ground if they want to, but make sure that it's properly minded and looked after like every other graveyard in the place. Or either get a right place in the right graveyard and bury them there, and all the cousins and whatever should be there, let them be there and do it properly. And there'll be a monument there for these children of people to see and their names on it.
In a brief statement this afternoon, the Secours sisters said they wouldn't comment on the detail of today's announcement from the Commission, other than to say they were cooperating fully with the investigation. Pat McGrath, RTE News, Tuam, County Galway.